What is up? It's Friday, January 28th. I got to tell you, we spent way too much time laughing before we just hit the stream button. So we're all fired up. We're all ready to go. Get the Friday bounce on. Come on, everybody. Let's just lean into it.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me. If instead of once, no need
It's Friday.
to run up on me,
Yeah.
watch you fall.
I'm gonna let it roll for another second.
Ain't no beast when it really real. I am the ball. I am the dawn.
Okay, we got to give you 5 more seconds of bounce this morning, because it's just that kind of day. We have in my offices here, we have music in the bathrooms, right? We got some Sonos speakers in there because why not? When I came in this morning and I hit the play button, we built this city on rock and roll. Jefferson Starship. It was
yes. Oh my goodness.
But we have some fun stuff today. First, a little moment of celebration, Kyle. We hit 5,000 downloads on this podcast this week.
That's a big deal, right? And what's crazy is I just feel like we were announcing 3,000. So obviously we're doing this every day, but there's a lot more people engaging with it. And if you're hanging out with us right now and you know a few people or people in your store that would get some encouragement or just like general news and they're tired of news, but this is a good way for you to grab it, share it with someone. Don't hold it to yourself, right? This is for everybody. We want everyone. So if you're a dealer principal, share it with the lot tech. If you're a consumer, share it with some other friends, right? We want to draw a big circle around everybody and invite everyone in. So
that's it, right? Let's all get singing off the same sheet. And speaking of which, there's a lot going on. So we do need to get into this because we're bouncing into a clubhouse room right after this, all things used cars. So we have to do this podcast. There is a big winter storm coming up the East Coast. We haven't done weather yet. We haven't done weather, but it just seemed like the right thing to announce today. There's a big winter storm for all of our dealers and friends at the East Coast. You know exactly what this means. Get out the snow brooms, right? We're clearing lots Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or whatever. It's supposed to drop 6 inches to over a foot starting in like Maryland and Hatteras, and all the way up. So our good friend Damon Lester, you got to figure it out. He's got his program down on the snow removal after last time.
He's ready to go.
They could get 1 to 2 feet.
Here's the thing: if anyone in the Northeast, if it's not a wet snow and it's a dry snow, if anyone over the next 2 years in the Northeast brings out one of those big trucks that blows the snow straight off the deal, like call me, I'll fly in. I just want to drive the truck and see the snow just flying off the car.
Oh my gosh,
that's what I'm all about.
I wonder, like, that only works for a certain kind of snow.
Yeah,
being in Syracuse, I can think of
like
2 out of 10 types of snow that's going to work for. But I bet it's awesome to watch. Right. I bet we could think of a lot of other applications for that as well that are less. Let's get into a little news. Big news. A big crown, a big trophy for Toyota. Number 1 in the globe last year in sales, beating out their rival Volkswagen, their global rival. It's not a rivalry in the U.S. at all, but globally speaking, they expanded their lead. And, they credit their great handling of their production. They said we stockpiled chips early on. We foresaw it. We stockpiled, and then we navigated the whole shortage very closely. And I guess it's not surprising that kind of the inventor of Toyota production system would be really good at supply chain management.
Right. Yeah, I think, also, we talked to Brian Kramer about this and who's a Toyota dealer, and just recognizing that the supply chain management is a similar approach to their production management. So, we talked about Tesla yesterday having high Q4 earnings. And so those that can manage their supply chain, Apple yesterday has, high Q4 earnings, gets a stock bump after hours because of it. Right. And so those companies that have the capacity and look into the future and understand that supply chain management is extremely important to, making sure that you don't hit bumps when market factors start to impact your capacity to produce. Those are going to be the winners, especially when we're talking a technology driven world and we're talking need for semiconductor chips everywhere. Right. So yeah, big deal. And probably really cool to see that Toyota did it in the global game, not just in the US game, which we found out a few weeks ago.
About the US. In the US, it's like this is the first time in 90 years, like almost a century, that GM was not at the top of the US list. So talk about that just being another wake-up call that, like, hey man, Things are changing. The people that are willing to adapt and pivot the fastest, or prepared to adapt and pivot the fastest, are the ones that are going to win. Shiori Hashimoto, a spokesperson for Toyota, said being number one has never been Toyota's focus, and we see our sales performance as the collective result of each individual customer's decisions to support the brands. Our company's goal is to be the best brand for safety and quality. They're sticking to the brand guns. They're like,
I love that.
This happens with every customer's decision, right? They're like, well, we could make all the chips and we can have all that, but guess what? Customer still has to decide, right? And so we're gonna focus on those things and let the supply chain do what it's gonna do, and we'll let the customer choose, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
And they did. One interesting thing about Toyota, and I was just thinking about this. I was like, man, the one manufacturer that I haven't heard a ton about EVs over the past, say, 18 months is Toyota. Now, they were like really early when we were talking EVs, probably 18 months to 3 years ago, right? 18 to 36 months ago, they kind of like led the case. But there's been less in the news, right? It's been a lot of other manufacturers, US manufacturers, German manufacturers, like pressing in saying 2030, but there hasn't been a lot coming out of Toyota. And I think, it's kind of the Apple play. It's like Apple doesn't hedge on promises. They just do. And I think you see that a lot from Toyota. So, and them leaning on the brand instead of leaning on like positioning for growth is like a direct relation to that. I think
it's kind of like a confident person. I don't know. Have you ever seen that video where there's like, it's like some kind of like, I don't know, fight club somewhere, and there's this dude and he's doing all these flips. He looked like he just came out of a video game, and there's one dude just standing there like waiting for the fight to start, and the dude's doing flips and the crowd's going crazy, right? And then as soon as the fight starts, he wants up the guy one right hook, right? And he goes down, the guy just puts his hands up. So I think that confident, like there's a level of not talking about it exudes confidence, and really truly secure and confident people in life, right? They don't need to tell you how confident they are. Right. That it's like a quiet confidence. And then when it comes time to do the thing, they're like, oh, we were ready for it. Here it is. Why wouldn't we have been ready for it? And so, Toyota does definitely exude that. Apple definitely exudes that. And it's not saying you can't have fun and be a little braggadocious and, kind of be a little glitzy and showy. But yeah, there's something to each of it. Speaking of like kind of both ends of it.
Stop. Segue.
Time. All right, let's talk about being a little braggadocious and kind of like backing up your talk. SpaceX is going to be going to space one time per week in 2022.
That's crazy.
And
I bet they accelerate that. They're already pacing that. So they've already paced that and have plans to pace it through the end of January.
Wait, they're going to space that much right now?
Right. What are they going to do in 6 months? Keep at a one per week pace? Really? No. Come on.
CNBC article. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is what's crazy is per launch. Like right now, typically it's $60 to $90 million to get this thing off the ground. But Tesla and SpaceX, well, not Tesla, but SpaceX is able to reduce that cost by almost half, because of their ability to reuse a lot of their rockets. So it's a really like new, interesting play that they're able to do. So they're already seeing the benefit of like volume analysis right there. And man, that's a pretty wild stat that we're going to be sending things to space one time a week.
That a private company, right? A private company is going to be sending things to space,
right?
Once a week. I'm not quite sure what they're doing up there. I'm sure they're launching satellites and doing tests and things like that. But yeah, so if you don't know this, by the way, we link up the articles that we mentioned in the podcast. We link them up in the show notes. So if you want to see the articles where all the stuff is coming from, just go into the podcast show notes and you click right through, and then you can read a little more about the story. So SpaceX is doing a thing. I saw on Instagram this morning, actually, I saw that Joe Rogan posted like some pictures of the Cybertruck. I guess it looked like it was in like this big warehouse or something. Looks like he was, at something where they let them drive it and
little invite only thing. Yeah.
But I will say, like, seeing the real world pictures of the Cybertruck make a lot more sense. Like when you look at it on the website, it really does. It's like DeLorean Mars rover mashup kind of thing.
Right.
Oh, hold on. We got some intel from a SpaceX fan, and Nathan says it's a combination of Starlink launches, other commercial launches, NASA contracts, and human space flight stuff. Nathan is now our official SpaceX liaison. Whenever we talk about SpaceX, we're gonna count on you to fill in the details. If you don't know what Starlink is, it is their satellite internet service. We have a good friend, Darren Doan. You probably know him if you've been sticking around the show. He lives in Moscow, Idaho, and he has a media company. So obviously bandwidth is important to him. And guess where bandwidth is terrible? Moscow, Idaho. Done work with him. He's like, bro, you're going to need to mail me a drive. Like I can't download that terabyte of footage. I just can't do it. But what Starlink is a network of satellites, and they ship you like around. It's literally just like a circle that goes in the. Oh yeah, we got a little donut action. It ships you a little circle. You like put it on the ground or on your roof. And what's the download speed? It's pretty good. It's like 200 megabytes down, like 200 down, 200 up. I mean, I don't remember. Kyle, you can look it up, or Nathan, if you know, just post it in the comments. But it's significantly fast. It's like faster than some cable service I have. So that's Starlink. So if you didn't know it, they're trying to provide an internet network that's not connected to ISPs on the ground, which kind of gets in a whole bunch of other, information and freedom. And like, Elon Musk is a big non-censorship kind of person. So has implications, I think, for a lot of stuff. But that's Starlink. I'm totally off what I was thinking. Oh, the Cybertruck. And so the Cybertruck, you look at the real world pictures and you're like, oh, yeah, it looks kind of trucky now.
Right. Well, I appreciated like the view from the back with the tailgate down, because originally I was like, this is not really a truck. Like it's not practical as a truck, but there's actually a lot more space in there and capacity than what I originally imagined when just seeing like some of the exterior photos without like actual usability. So I'm intrigued by it. I don't know if I would own one, but it's definitely a step into the future for sure.
Yeah, it's deceiving because of the way it's like a triangle shape.
Right.
So you can't tell like where the back of the seating area ends and where the bed begins. It does have like an automatic tonneau cover that rolls up, a hardtop that you can stand on literally, and it just kind of deploys. And then so it's like if you're a family, you know what I mean, you need to like bring strollers and things like that. Guess what? This may be the minivan alternative you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Well, it is a 6-seater. It is a 6-seater. There's 3 seats in the front, so you can go like that's old school. Like, did you ever?
That is old
back
school.
In the day?
That's actually like hailing back to the old. I
just hear country music in my head.
Like that, or
I feel like the old Fords, right? With remember like the cloth seat, not even cloth. It was almost like a woven, like a very hard fabric, and just one straight bench seat across the middle, like. But the stick shift was in the middle, so whoever's in the middle was just
whoever's in the middle is like manning the stick shift. Yes.
So that's kind of Friday, everybody. It's been an awesome week. Thanks for spending some time with us here today. We're jumping into a clubhouse room if you're on the live stream right now called All Things Used Cars. Also want to remind you that next week Clubhouse is hitting hard. We're doing rooms Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, collabing on Friday. We have a soda pitch tank by Auto Genius. It's going to be the first time we relaunched that show in our collab with Auto Genius. We're going to collab with All Things Used Car on Friday. So next week is the week. A lot kicking off. The emails changing formats a little bit. It's about to get serious around here, on our way to 10,000 downloads, but I think it's going to ramp really quickly. Kyle, you ready for this?
Let's go.
Let's go.